War. What is it good for? Driving a narrative. So I'm back to the war in War and Peace. It's 1812, and it looks like Napoleon is in Poland or driving to Poland. So this is, I guess, the beginning of the campaign where he ultimately goes into Russia and loses over 90% of his men, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to talk today about pacing in War and Peace and pacing in general in a large book. It's a 61-hour audio book. That's pretty dang long. I think that's longer than Crime and Punishment and Brothers Karamazov, which are two books, very long books that I really, really like. Also enjoyed Moby Dick. I can't remember how many hours that was. I don't think it was 61. In any case, this is a very, very long narrative. And the issue is you can lose your audience. I would claim that's what's happened in the Game of Thrones book series. I'm not talking about the TV series. But in the book series, I've gotten to the point where I really do not care about any of the characters. I just want them all dead at this point. Early on, there was good pacing, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm just like, I'm tired of it. But back to War and Peace. So there's a natural rhythm to the War and Peace, and Tolstoy will speed things up or slow things down. And this is why I was kind of getting sick of the peace part. In the last parts, the Rostovs specifically had this little pastoral interlude in the fall and the winter where we had like 3 chapters, maybe 4, on a hunting scene. I really didn't care about it. I guess it was supposed to be exciting. Now, the chapters on the Christmas celebrations were more interesting, I think. A little celebration of the country estates, because we do spend a lot of time in the city, so we have a pacing between city and country, and we have a pacing between war and peace. And what's interesting, of course, is a couple of the characters will move between war and peace. So Prince Andrei is one of them. Nikolai Rostov is another. There's not a lot. There's a lot of characters that only show up in war, like Napoleon, and Tolstoy likes making fun of Napoleon. And actually the Tsar Alexander gets a bit of a razz as well for basically he really doesn't know military anything, and his presence is not helpful to the planning of dealing with Napoleon, but also reflecting that like nobody really knows how to deal with Napoleon. And that is true at this point. It takes a while before they get beaten back. But Tolstoy really does keep this narrative moving, which is great. There are a couple slow parts. You know, it happens. Not everything is perfect. But I love, like, most of the chapters are very short. And when Tolstoy has decided to move the action on, it's great. He'll just say, okay, we just had Pierre, Count, I can't remember his last name right now, but Count Pierre, chewing out his brother-in-law Anatole, and like, blah, 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 get the hell out of Moscow. And the next sentence is, Anatole left for St. Petersburg the next day. Next chapter. He does not spend a lot of time on stuff you don't need to know. You will have a lot of build-up, but once an action has been decided, it happens, and we move on. So don't let the length of this book put you off. An audiobook is a great way to do this. Actually, I've taken to playing this at night so I can try to get this done by the end of the year. I have a sleep timer, but I also set a bookmark. So in my app, Hoopla, I can set a bookmark before I go to sleep. I let it run for an hour, though often I find out I must have fallen asleep one sentence into the book after I hit play. But it really does move. There's a lot of characters. He helps you remember who characters are, what last happened with them, because part of the pacing in War and Peace is characters will go away for a long time, and you need to be reminded of who they are, what they've done, what they feel, and he does it. Just like any good serial writer. Dickens did this. Everybody did this, because I assume War and Peace was published originally serially, as was common in mid and late 19th century publishing. So it's a good story so far. I'm sorry to say, you can't really like too many characters, though Pierre is growing on me. And next time I hope to talk more about different characters, and you may see there's a little bit of snowy dandruff here in New York, or I'm sorry, I'm in Connecticut right now, on Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas and see you after the holidays.